peach bellinis are here. And babes, welcome back. We love you, we see you, and do not forget to subscribe.
Please subscribe. We need you.
We really do. And babes, by the time most of you hear this, it is Monday.
The absolute worst day of the week.
Right, so happy Monday, baby. Because babes, it is almost summer, and we have decided we are taking a vacation.
We fundamentally have to for our mental health.
Exactly. Because no, we did not manifest a lottery win yet.
Tragically.
And no, we did not secure a sugar daddy yet. But babes, we deserve it.
We truly do. I mean, if you look at the sheer psychological toll of navigating modern existence, let alone keeping up with the velocity of reality television drama, we have earned a tropical sabbatical. I am already spiritually at the airport.
I am fully in my soft life delusion era right now. I am picturing Jamaica. Picture it with me.
Okay, my eyes are closed.
The whitest sand you have ever seen. Water so perfectly clear you can see your flawless, freshly manicured toes. Zero responsibilities, no alarms.
God, no alarm sounds incredible.
Right. I am wearing this flowing, floor-length silk caftan that just catches the ocean breeze.
Ooh. Huge, obnoxious sunglasses. A fresh peach bellini in my hand, sweating in the midday sun. The vibes are immaculate. We are totally, gloriously unreachable.
See, naturally my analytical brain immediately went to the logistics. Like, I started calculating flight costs, the agonizing process of booking connecting flights through Miami.
No, stop!
I know. I was tracking hotel points, figuring out the exact ground transportation required to get from Montego Bay to a secluded resort without losing our minds. But you know what? Absolutely not. I am completely giving into the delusion with you. We are flying private. The airline points do not matter. The budget is a total myth.
Yes. The budget is a societal construct meant to keep us stressed. We are laying on those plush cabana beds looking flawless and, oh my God, wait.
What?
Babes, imagine there is a Real Housewives cast trip filming while we are there.
Oh my God. The behind-the-scenes tea we could acquire, it would be a sociological goldmine. I would absolutely lose my mind. Imagine us just accidentally securing the lounge chairs right next to their roped-off filming area.
We would be wearing our oversized hats, hiding behind those massive laminated cocktail menus.
Yes, just soaking up every single unedited decibel of the screaming match. Because you know they scream so much louder in person.
Oh, absolutely. And I would be taking meticulous mental notes on the production mechanics. Like, I would be analyzing their off-camera producer interactions.
You would be a total spy.
Obviously. Imagine they are having one of those iconic franchise-defining dinner parties from hell at the resort's private restaurant, and we just happen to be seated at the table right behind the floral arrangements.
We would accidentally become extras. We would be the girls in the blurry background aggressively sipping our drinks while someone flips a table or throws a glass of imported tequila.
Just completely unfazed by the flying glassware.
Honestly. I might even try to instigate.
You would not.
I would walk past their table on my way to the restroom and just casually drop a rumor. Like, oh, did your husband not get spotted at the club in Atlanta? And then just strut away into the ocean, let them tear each other apart while I go snorkeling.
You would completely shatter the fourth wall. You would ruin a multi-million-dollar production schedule. And we would undeniably get escorted off the property by Bravo security.
And it would be worth every single glorious second.
It really would. We would go down in reality TV history as the mysterious beach girls.
The ultimate icons. But unfortunately, reality is calling. We do have a work week ahead.
We do. The pristine Jamaican sand is actively slipping through our fingers, rapidly being replaced by sterile nitrile gloves, face shields, and dental drill bits.
Truly a modern tragedy. But let's check in. What is the high and the low of your upcoming week in the dental trenches?
Okay, so my high is genuinely exciting. I have this massive cosmetic case finishing up this week. We are delivering 10 anterior veneers, and let me tell you, the lab nailed the shade match with terrifying precision. Oh, I love that for you.
It is going to be one of those deeply satisfying, life-changing reveal moments when we hand the patient the mirror. That is the high.
Okay, and the low?
The low is that I have an entire afternoon blocked out for a patient who has historically refused to open their mouth wider than a millimeter.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and they constantly try to speak while the high-speed drill is running. Plus, their insurance company is an absolute labyrinth to navigate. The dread is already settling deep in my bones.
Oh, I feel that in my soul. You were fighting for your life in that operatory.
Literally fighting for my life. What about you?
Well, my high is that we finally got the new imaging software installed so I can stop feeling like I am looking at grainy x-rays from 1998. The clarity of the new sensors is giving me life.
Oh, new tech is the best.
It really is. But my low. The sheer suffocating volume of insurance claim denials we have to appeal this week.
Oh, brutal. I am going to be on hold with corporate providers listening to that compressed, tiny elevator music, begging to explain why a crown was medically necessary because the tooth was literally fractured in half. It is draining my youth.
It is the ultimate reality check. Going from manifesting a Jamaican soft life to fighting with an insurance rep named Gary over a pre-authorization code.
Which is exactly why we need to pivot aggressively to the drama.
Yes, please save us.
Because we need to discuss something incredibly important. The group chats are on fire. The timelines are shaking. We need to answer the defining question of the season.
I am ready.
Do we think Pinky is actually a meat eater? Or is she a pretend vegan?
Oh, we are jumping right into the deep end of the delusion today. Let's unpack this.
I have to speak my truth first because I am so emotional about this. I think it is completely 100% fake to run an entire vegan empire, sit on the board of PETA, sell this a whole holier-than-thou plant-based lifestyle to the masses, and then secretly be sneaking steaks in the dark.
Okay, tell us how you really feel.
I mean it. If she is a pretend vegan, that is elite-level scamming. It changes the entire foundation of her brand. It is giving absolute fraud.
Okay, I hear your passion, I really do. But let me push back and analyze the actual behavioral patterns here, because we need to examine the source of this information.
The source is the streets.
But is it? We are dealing with a game of telephone orchestrated by some of the most masterful, messy women on television. The evidence that she currently eats meat is entirely based on third-party rumors.
Where there is smoke, there is fire, babe.
But what we objectively know as a fact is that she used to own a Jamaican restaurant that sold ribs. Past behavior like owning a rib joint over a decade ago before conceptualizing a vegan empire does not automatically negate current veganism. People evolve. Business strategies adapt to market trends.
But they're saying she was spotted eating a steak.
Yeah.
You do not just accidentally trip and fall mouth first into a ribeye.
Right, but are the streets saying it, or is Kelly saying it? Because if you look at the mechanics of the rumor, Kelly is the one who took the mundane historical fact that she owned a Jamaican restaurant and mutated it into the active visual claim of saying, I saw her eating a steak.
I honestly do not care about the logistics of the rumor. The sheer visual idea of the slutty vegan sneaking into a dark alley to consume a hamburger is the highest form of comedy to me.
Yeah.
It is giving exactly what Phaedra said. It's giving the hamburglar.
I mean, the premise is completely unserious. The fact that an entire multi-million-dollar reality television franchise is currently revolving around the forensic investigation of whether or not a grown woman ingested bovine protein is precisely why we love this medium. It is high-camp absurdity.
Babes, the wine is hitting. The Bellinis are doing their job. We are spiraling.
We really are.
Sorry, babes. We are transitioning directly into this episode recap right now. We are tipsy, we are chaotic, and we are fully ready for the mess. So let's get into part one of this recap, because the math is not mathing.
It really is not. The numbers presented in this episode are entirely fictional constructs.
We have to talk about this slutty vegan and Pinky Cool Foundation community give-back event. The juxtaposition is giving me absolute whiplash.
Oh, the irony is thick.
She is hosting this massive, highly produced charity event, standing out in the blistering heat of a parking lot in her branded gear, directing traffic with a megaphone, making the other women bring bulk items to donate.
And not just asking for generic help. She is giving them specific, highly demanding shopping lists, book bags, baby wipes, feminine products, toothbrushes. She is treating the rest of the cast like her personal supply chain.
Right. But here's where my brain is fundamentally breaking. I need you to explain this to me.
I will try.
Is it iconic, or is it deeply morally hypocritical to host a massive public-facing charity event to showcase how much you give back to the community when you were literally filing for a $5 million bankruptcy and allegedly not even paying your own workers?
It is a phenomenal question. If we look at this analytically, it is a masterclass in weaponized philanthropy.
Weaponized philanthropy. I love that.
It is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It is a calculated PR distraction mechanism. When a public figure or a corporation is facing catastrophic legal or financial ruin, especially lawsuits alleging wage theft, their crisis management team will often deploy highly visible, emotionally resonant charity work.
Wow. Okay. So it is On purpose.
Entirely on purpose. She is actively trying to craft a woe is me, but look at my big, bleeding heart narrative. She wants the public to perceive her as the struggling, selfless business owner who loves her community so much that she is making personal sacrifices. It is designed to create a cognitive dissonance for the consumer, insulating her from criticism.
But the lawsuits are public record. People know about them. We know about them.
Exactly, which is why the PR strategy completely implodes the second you juxtapose the charity event with the actual documented allegations. We are talking about class action lawsuits alleging she paid her employees roughly $2 an hour.
$2.
$2. And allegedly required them to relinquish 25% of their cash tips to a mandatory pool. You have to understand the mechanism of the tipped minimum wage in the restaurant industry. It is already borderline exploitative.
Right. It is so hard to survive on tips alone.
But to allegedly skim those tips, that is devastating. So you are standing in a parking lot heroically handing out $20 book bags for the Bravo cameras, while the very people working the fryers inside your restaurants allegedly cannot afford to pay their own rent. The math is sinister.
It is so wild. And then, to make it infinitely worse, she has the absolute audacity to complain about an $8,000 rent issue on camera and literally says, I could wipe my butt with $8,000.
I have no words.
I had to pause the TV and take a lap around my living room, read the room, in this economy, while your workers are allegedly making sub-minimum wage. It's so wildly tone-deaf, I actually gasped.
It was a catastrophic slip of the mask. In the hierarchy of reality TV legal drama, there are distinct tiers of audience forgiveness.
Okay, break that down.
So, scamming the federal government or defaulting on massive bank loans, the audience usually forgives that because the victim is a faceless institution. It feels victimless to the viewer. But when the alleged victims are your direct working class employees, people relying on those meager wages to feed their families, there is an absolute expectation of humility.
Yeah, you cannot flaunt your cash.
You absolutely cannot, under any circumstances, be on camera flippantly talking about using $8,000 as toilet paper. It destroys the populist community hero brand she is trying to sell.
Exactly. You cannot be the woman of the people while treating money like monopoly cash. And then, amid all this suffocating financial ruin, Kelly shows up.
Oh, Kelly.
Kelly, who was basically a background extra in the last episode, just saunters into the scene. Pinky pulls her aside and tells her she's thinking of filing for bankruptcy. And Kelly does not even blink. Her heart rate does not spike. She just goes, girl, me too. Same sis. My jaw unhinged.
It was the most astonishingly casual admission of systemic financial ruin I have ever witnessed on television. Just dropping a breezy me too in response to a $5 million Chapter 11 filing.
And then she compares herself to Abraham Lincoln.
Of course she does.
Because Lincoln allegedly went bankrupt 3 times before becoming president. So she proudly looks at the camera and declares herself Kelly Lincoln. The delusion is so thick you could cut it with a scalpel. She is sitting there talking about being the personal guarantor for her business loans during her messy divorce, and the money is just vanishing, so she is leading into this presidential historical narrative.
We have to analyze this coping mechanism because it is fascinating. By comparing herself to Abraham Lincoln, Kelly is actively attempting to reframe her catastrophic financial failure as a necessary stepping stone to inevitable historical greatness.
Like it is a cute little phase.
Right. In her mind, it is not just a messy divorce debt resulting from poor asset protection. It is a presidential rite of passage. It is staggering narcissism disguised as resilience. But the truly revealing part of that entire exchange was not the Lincoln comparison. It was Kelly's reaction to Pinky keeping this $5 million secret from her own husband.
Yes. Kelly actually becomes the voice of absolute reason for 3 glowing seconds. She looks at Pinky and tells her she needs to let her husband help her. Which brings us to the most frustrating scene of the entire season. The workout scene with Derek.
So painful to watch.
Pinky finally admits to Derek on camera that she is deeply in the hole in filing for bankruptcy.
During a casual neighborhood walk, just slipping a $5 million bombshell in between complaining about her busy schedule and doing lunges.
And Derek, to his credit, without missing a single beat, immediately goes into protector and solution mode. He stops her and literally tells her, you are not filing for bankruptcy. I'm going to give you the $5 million.
She just casually offers to write the check.
He has the liquidity. And what does she do? She turns it down. She looks at a man holding a metaphorical $5 million life raft, and she says she does not want to be a victim. I was screaming at my television screen, "Take the money.
Take some money and run.
Secure the bag, clear your ledgers, and get on the plane to Dallas completely debt-free." What on earth are you doing?
Look, from a purely pragmatic standpoint, your reaction is the only logical one. But if we dig beneath the surface, we have to analyze the deeply toxic power dynamic at play in their marriage. This is not just about simple pride, although pride is the shield she is using. This is a profound trauma response. She is displaying toxic hyper-independence.
Wait, I need you to explain that to me, because to me it just looks like self-sabotage. Why would independence ever be a bad thing?
Because true independence is knowing when to strategically accept help. Hyper-independence is an extreme self-reliance that actually harms you, usually born from a fear of being controlled or let down. Let's look at the layers of this specific relationship.
Okay, lay it out.
Layer 1. Derek has proudly and somewhat chillingly stated on camera in the past that he humbles Pinky.
I hated that comment so much.
It is a massive red flag. When your romantic partner views it as their literal job to diminish your ego and humble you, accepting a $5 million financial bailout from them means handing over the ultimate trump card. If she takes that money, she would never, ever win another argument for the rest of their natural lives. He would own her success.
Oh, wow. So she's choosing bankruptcy over being eternally indebted to his ego.
Precisely. And there is layer 2, which is even more complicated. Brand identity. Pinky's entire public persona is tied up in being the self-made, PETA-endorsed plant-based visionary. Derek's immense wealth comes from his cheesesteak business.
Oh my God, the meat money.
The meat money. Does she really want her struggling, ethically branded vegan empire to be secretly subsidized by a massive influx of non-vegan, carnivorous capital? The psychological dissonance would destroy her.
That is actually so true. The optics would be terrible.
So she is refusing it, claiming she wants the empowerment of cleaning up her own mess. But the tragic irony is that by refusing his private capital and filing for public bankruptcy, she is actually ensuring the mess gets exponentially bigger, more public, and more damaging to her brand.
That is just exhausting. I cannot imagine living in a marriage where taking help feels like a trap, honestly. Take the check, pay your employees their $2 wages plus massive interest, swallow your pride, and go drink a massive margarita in Dallas.
It would be so much easier.
But no, we have to suffer through this agonizing struggle-love narrative. Let's move into part 2 of the recap, because while the bankruptcy is threatening to destroy her actual life, Meatgate is truly taking over the entire social dynamic of the group.
The game of telephone in this episode is a masterpiece of manipulation. It belongs in a university sociology textbook on how misinformation spreads within insular communities. Let's trace the exact lineage of this rumor.
Yes, map it out for us, because I was getting dizzy trying to follow who said what to whom.
We have to break it down into 3 distinct phases. Phase 1, the truth. Phaedra is on the phone with Shamea. Phaedra, operating with surgical precision, states a factual piece of history. She says that long before Pinky started her vegan empire, she used to own a Jamaican restaurant that served meat, specifically ribs.
Okay, true.
That is all Phaedra explicitly said. It is an easily verifiable historical fact.
Okay, let me push back on that innocent fact narrative right now. We know Phaedra. She did not just state it like she was reading a Wikipedia article. It is all about the delivery.
Fair point. The delivery is everything.
She was heavily implying it. She was laying out the breadcrumbs and waiting for someone else to follow the trail.
Oh, of course she was implying it. I am not defending Phaedra's intent. Phaedra is a grandmaster of the dark arts of shade. She operates entirely in subtext. She handed Shamea the loaded gun and let Shamea pull the trigger. Which leads us to phase 2. The lie.
The big lie.
The historical information makes its way to Kelly. Kelly then tells Shamea that she did not just hear about an old restaurant. Kelly actively escalates the narrative and claims she actually saw Pinky eating a steak in present day.
Which is an insane, unhinged escalation. Going from she owned a restaurant in 2007 to I looked at her with my own 2 eyes while she physically consumed a slab of beef is not a misunderstanding. It is a fabricated lie.
It is a total fabrication designed to insert Kelly into the center of the drama. And that brings us to the climax. Phase 3, the betrayal. We're at the sweltering charity event.
Sweating in the parking lot.
Pinky finally gets wind of the rumor. She storms over and confronts Phaedra directly. And where is Kelly during this intense confrontation?
Nowhere to be found.
Kelly, the woman who actually birthed the active lie about seeing the steak, is sitting right in Pinky's face. And she is acting completely, utterly appalled that anyone in this group would spread such a vicious rumor.
It was chilling to watch.
She sits in absolute silence and lets Phaedra take 100% of the blame and the vitriol.
I physically gasped. Kelly's elite-level fake behavior is almost admirable in its chilling sociopathy. She sat there blinking her eyes, looking like a concerned, innocent sister, while the building burned down around her.
Completely unbothered.
And you know what? I actually have to praise Phaedra in that moment. She basically did nothing but state a historical fact, and yet she managed to stir the pot flawlessly and set the entire friend group on fire, all while keeping her hands completely clean.
Phaedra's deflection during that confrontation was masterful crisis management. Notice her physical posture. She never raised her voice. She never got defensive.
It's totally deadpan.
She simply maintained a flat, unbothered tone and repeated that she only ever spoke about the Jamaican restaurant. By staying perfectly calm, she forces the chaotic energy back onto the accusers. This forces Shamea and Phaedra to start bickering, because Shamea is the one who got the game of telephone tangled up by trusting Kelly's escalation.
And the argument somehow completely, wildly derails. They were screaming in a parking lot, and they stopped talking at the meet entirely. Suddenly, it devolves into this ancient, completely unrelated argument about an old podcast interview where Shamea said she would choose Cynthia as a godmother over Phaedra. What does that have to do with veganism?
Nothing. And that is the brilliance of it. It is the absolute pinnacle of low-stakes chaos. We are watching incredibly wealthy grown women have a blood feud entirely centered around whether or not someone consumed a hamburger, and within 90 seconds, it gets derailed by theoretical godmother appointments for children who are already born and walking.
It is so stupid, and I love it.
The psychological absurdity is delicious. It shows how these women use superficial arguments as proxy wars for their deep-seated resentments.
And just when I thought the absurdity could not peak any higher, production hits us with the absolute campiest moment of the season. Maury Povich cameo.
The ultimate reality TV inception. The merging of two distinct eras of trash television.
I completely lost my mind. Pinky is defending herself, and she actually pulls out her phone to play a pre-recorded video message from Maury Povich.
The lie detector test itself.
He is holding his classic manila envelope, and he looks into the camera and declares, "The lie detector test says that was a lie. Pinky, you are still a vegan. I was on the floor."
We have to pause and acknowledge the sheer producing genius behind that moment. The context here is crucial. Before Pinky started her restaurants, she actually worked as a television producer for the Maury Povich show.
Wait, really? That makes so much sense.
Yes, so she reached into her Rolodex and cashed in a massive industry favor to create this beautifully unhinged, self-produced reality TV moment. She bypassed the Bravo producers entirely and brought a legendary daytime talk show prop into a Housewives feud.
Iconic behavior.
It is so utterly ridiculous, yet so ruthlessly effective at shutting down the immediate argument. It does not solve any of her actual financial or interpersonal problems, but it wins the scene.
It was television gold. She really looked at the girls and said, "You want to play media games? Let me bring out the heavy artillery. Let me bring out Mauritia." I deeply respect the hustle.
Speaking of hustle, let's pivot to part 3 of our conversation. Porsha's palace, petulant exes, and deal breakers.
Porsha's financial maneuvers in this episode are genuinely impressive, especially when you contrast them directly with Pinky and Kelly's overlapping bankruptcies.
Yes. Porsha's putting her massive Duluth home on the market. And we all remember the emotional weight of this house. This is the house she bought after Cordell literally locked her out, dumped her via Twitter without warning, and destroyed her wedding dress. She bought this house to rebuild her shattered life.
A true phoenix rising from the ashes moment.
And now, she is selling it because it has accrued $1 million in equity. $1 million.
We absolutely have to praise Porsha's financial glow-up.
Yeah.
Say what you want about her messy relationship history or her impulsive decisions, but she knows how to secure capital.
She gets the back. She understands asset accumulation. She took the meager resources available to her after that devastating first divorce. She strategically secured Simon's massive Atlanta mansion after that disaster of a brief marriage. And now she's meticulously liquidating her real estate portfolio at the peak of the market. She is sitting on $1 million in liquid equity while the rest of the cast is desperately Googling Chapter 11 bankruptcy lawyers. It is a masterclass in failing upward.
Failing upward, right into a multi-million-dollar mansion. We love to see a woman winning. So she is sitting in this massive, impeccably organized closet surrounded by Birkin bags. And she has Mike over, her new friend. And Mike brings her these massive, ridiculous, over-the-top flowers with a card that blatantly says, "I want you."
A very aggressive, highly performative floral statement for a casual relationship.
Very aggressive. And Porsha, showing immense personal growth, decides she is not going to play coy games. She sits Mike down among the designer shoes and bluntly states the facts of her life. She tells him she is 44 years old, she has been married twice, she has one beautiful kid, Pilar, and she looks him dead in the eye without flinching and says her womb is closed.
Just shut it down immediately.
The shop is permanently shut down. No more babies, no more late-night feedings, no more shifting her life for a man's legacy.
It was incredibly direct. She did not use soft language. She did not leave any room for misinterpretation or future negotiation.
And Mike's response.
Yeah.
He gets all serious, his face drops, and he says that might be a deal breaker because he wants 3 kids. My emotional praise for Porsha in this moment was so high. Have you ever tried to hold a boundary with a man you actually like?
It is nearly impossible.
It is so hard. But she completely held her boundaries. She did not bend. She did not give him that weak, well, maybe we could try IVF in a few years, nonsense. She just let it be a deal breaker. She is refusing to ruin her body, her peace, or her established life plan for a man she just started casually seeing who wants to build his own personal basketball team.
It is a massive psychological shift from her past behavior. If you look at Porsha historically, she has always molded herself like clay to fit whatever the man of the moment desired. She desperately wanted to be the perfect, submissive, traditional wife for Cordell. She rushed into an engagement and pregnancy with Dennis because he wanted a family. She completely upended her life and reputation for Simon.
She was a chameleon for these men.
But here, she is standing firm in her own identity. She's essentially telling Mike, this is the reality of dating a 44-year-old, independently wealthy, established woman. Take it or leave it, the door is right there. It is an incredibly empowering evolution to watch.
It really is beautiful to witness. But of course, because this is reality television, the peace absolutely cannot last. Because who comes walking through the door to ruin the vibe? Dennis McKinley. Dennis, the absolute menace.
A human embodiment of a blurred boundary.
He comes over to set up a podcast studio for their 7-year-old daughter, PJ. Which, side note, the concept of a 7-year-old having a produced podcast is wild to me, but sure, let's go with it. And the tension in the room is immediate and thick. Porsha is visibly flustered and she accidentally calls Dennis babe.
Oh, that was rough.
She tries to blame it on muscle memory and whatever liquor was in her cup, but we all heard it. The slip-up was real.
The Freudian slip of the tongue was incredibly revealing about their underlying dynamic, but we cannot focus on that because Dennis's ensuing behavior was utterly appalling. He walks into her home, immediately zeroes in on Mike's massive I want you floral arrangement like a bloodhound, and goes into full aggressive interrogation mode.
Oh, I read Dennis for filth in my living room. I was yelling at the screen. Porsha awkwardly tries to hide the card, which is hilarious, but futile, and Dennis finds it. And then, and this is where I lost it, he tries to dictate Porsha's dating life. He starts setting geographical rules.
Literal geographical boundaries.
He tells her she cannot date anyone who lives in his apartment building, claiming Mike used to live there, and it is a violation of some unspoken code.
We need to analyze the sheer, unmitigated gall of Dennis McKinley. Let's clinically review the facts of this relationship. Fact 1. This is a man who notoriously cheated on Porsha while she was actively pregnant with his child.
Trash.
Fact 2. This is a man who presently, lives in a home with his new long-term girlfriend. Yet, armed with those facts, he walks into his ex-fiance's house and tries to play the role of a protective, territorial dating coach. The hypocrisy is blinding.
It is a sickness. It is a psychological sickness.
And beyond the hypocrisy, look at the logistics of what he is demanding. He is trying to act as a gatekeeper for a luxury apartment building. But, as Porsha so brilliantly points out, he does not even live in that building anymore.
Right.
He moved out to live with his new girlfriend. So he is trying to geographically restrict her dating pool based on a real estate footprint he no longer even occupies. It has nothing to do with protecting his peace. It is purely about territorial control disguised as concern. It is a classic narcissistic tactic to ensure the ex-partner never truly moves on.
Porsha rightfully drags him, and I loved every second of it. She reminds him of his terrible 3.5-year relationship record with her and compares it to her actual legal marriages. She basically looks at him and says, you have zero standing to comment on my commitment issues when you could not even stay faithful during a pregnancy.
A flawless read.
And then she expertly, flawlessly pulls the plug. She tells him, we are not doing this podcast business together anymore. You cannot keep business and personal separate. You are crossing lines, so you are out.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, necessary boundary setting.
It was entirely necessary for her survival. Dennis thrives in that murky, undefined gray area where he can still exert emotional influence over her, pop up at her house unannounced, and critique her life without offering any actual commitment or loyalty in return. Porsha cutting the cord on the podcast collaboration was the only way to sever the umbilical cord and protect her peace.
Absolutely. She chose peace over a potential Bravo spit-off storyline, and I respect it. Let's move into part 4 of our conversation, the side quests, because while all this main character drama was happening, there was a lot of chaotic energy brewing in the background. First up, we have Angela's $50,000 Fanjola delusion.
The business acumen, or complete lack thereof, on display in the scene was genuinely staggering. It was hard to watch from a logistical standpoint.
Angela calls a meeting with her team to launch these handheld menopause fans. She calls them Fanjolas. Her team looks at her and says she needs $50,000 in capital just to launch the initial production run. And she needs to sell 4,000 of these little fans just to break even. So what is her brilliant CEO strategy?
I shudder to recall it.
She decides to ask her husband Charles to put up half the money.
Oh.
But she did not do it at home over a nice private dinner. She ambushes him and asks him in front of a room full of people.
It is a classic, deeply manipulative housewife pressure tactic. You ask the wealthy husband for seed money while the cameras are rolling in front of staff or friends, relying on the social pressure to force compliance. The theory is that he will not want to look like an unsupportive jerk on national television, so he will just write the check to end the awkwardness.
But Charles is not having it.
Charles is completely immune to the pressure. He sees right through the tactic.
Completely immune. He did not even blink. And the craziest part is she does not just ask for the money. She takes this cheap-looking prototype, which looks exactly like something you'd buy at a theme park, and asks him to model the men's version of the fan around his neck.
So embarrassing.
Charles flatly refuses. He literally says he's not going to walk around looking like Flavor Flav. I was dying.
It really is giving legendary housewives business delusion. It falls perfectly into the established archetype. It is giving Sonja Morgan's mythical toaster oven. It is giving Sheree Whitfield's spring-summer jogger line. Think about the fundamental flaws in her business model. You have a rudimentary prototype of a plastic product that already exists in abundance on Amazon for $10 with free Prime shipping.
Exactly. I can get a fan right now.
And you want your husband to blindly invest $25,000, and you want to market a version to men. The market research is non-existent. The target demographic for a men's menopause fan is mathematically zero. It is an ego project disguised as an LLC.
It is so fundamentally bad, but I have to confess, I kind of want one. Like, I will happily spend $20 on a Fanjola, just for the sheer camp factor of owning reality TV memorabilia. Okay, moving on to the next side quest, and this one is a tonal shift. Shamea's deeply awkward, painful marriage scene. The secondhand embarrassment I felt watching this, my soul literally left my body and hovered near the ceiling.
It was profoundly uncomfortable. It felt invasive to witness.
Shamea is in her massive house wearing this cute little Dallas-themed cowgirl dress, actively trying to flirt with her husband Gerald to set a fun mood before the cast trip to Texas. And Gerald gives her absolutely nothing. Less than nothing.
Not even a glance.
He is staring down at his phone, swiping, barely grunting one-word responses while she is trying to be playful.
The emotional disconnect in that room was palpable. You could feel the chill through the screen, and the conversation she attempts to initiate is incredibly heavy, which makes his disengagement feel almost cruel.
Yes, she is trying to have a real vulnerable conversation about their future. They are talking about their surrogate falling through, which is devastating. Shamea explains they only have one male embryo left in the freezer, and she asks him, practically begging for partnership, what is the backup plan here? If this final embryo does not take, what do we do? Are we looking into adoption? Are we using donor eggs?
So valid to ask.
And Gerald just coldly brushes her off. He refuses to discuss any contingencies and just mutters that they will figure it out later.
It is deeply troubling, and it highlights a very specific, painful reality for many women in these dynamics. Shamea clearly feels immense, crushing patriarchal pressure to provide this man with a male heir. Because the surrogacy process is failing, she is internalizing that failure. She is carrying the entire psychological and logistical burden of this fertility journey. And Gerald's absolute refusal to engage in backup planning leaves her stranded on an emotional island. He is outsourcing the anxiety entirely to her.
I was viscerally cringing. I was screaming at the screen. I am begging you, Shamea, please respect yourself. Stop pushing your body, your hormones, and your mental health to the absolute breaking point for a man who will not even look up from his iPhone to compliment your outfit.
He literally could not care less.
It is giving massive struggle love. She is beautiful, she is vibrant, and she deserves so much better than a partner who treats building a family like an annoying administrative task.
It highlights a tragic dynamic that we see too often on these shows. She is performing a desperate dance for an audience of one, but the sole audience member has already emotionally left the theater. It is devastating.
Ugh, it is too dark. You need to shake it off.
Yeah.
Let's look forward to the light, which is the Dallas preview. Cynthia is packing up and taking the girls to Texas for her tequila colony crossover launch.
The impending group trip chaos is exactly what the pacing of this season requires to elevate the drama to the next level.
K. Michelle is already causing problems. She is flatly refusing to sing country music just because they are going to Texas.
Wow.
She is drawing a hard diva line in the sand. I cannot wait to see these women completely unravel in a different time zone. You know how it is when you travel with a big group of friends? The exhaustion hits, the alcohol flows, and all the suppressed resentments boil over. The outfits alone are going to be a complete disaster in the best way possible. Leather and fringe everywhere.
Group trips are the ultimate pressure cooker. They force the cast out of their highly curated, controlled home environments. In Atlanta, they can storm out of a restaurant and go home to their safe space. In a shared villa in Dallas, there is nowhere to hide. There is no controlling the narrative. It will be pure, concentrated, inescapable chaos.
And I am so ready to consume every second of it. All right, the wine is flowing, the recap is done, and it is time to get into the really fun stuff. Segment 1, Hot Take Roulette.
Let's review the rules for this segment. We must each deliver a bold, highly opinionated, completely unhinged hot take about the episode. No overthinking, no filtering, just pure chaotic energy and gut reactions.
I am ready. I'm stepping up to the wheel. Here's my hot take. Porsha actually genuinely still loves Dennis.
Oh, wow. You are bypassing the logic entirely and going straight for the emotional jugular. Defend this thesis.
I mean it with my whole chest. Look at the evidence. The chemistry between them is too toxic, too volatile, and too deeply real to be faked for the cameras. When she slipped up and called him babe, that was not just the drink talking, that was her subconscious screaming out loud. Look at the way they bicker. Look at how he knows exactly what microscopic buttons to push regarding those flowers. Look at how fired up and passionate she gets when she is arguing with him. You do not fight like that with someone you are indifferent to. The opposite of love is not hate, it is apathy. And there is zero apathy in that room when they are together. They are entirely, hopelessly obsessed with each other. And my unhinged prediction is that despite the boundary she set today, they're going to end up in a massive, messy, romantic entanglement by the end of the season.
That is a deeply chaotic take, but structurally the psychological evidence supports the toxicity. They are addicted to the cycle of conflict and resolution. All right, my turn to spin the wheel. My hot take is this. Pinky's entire bankruptcy filing is a massive, highly orchestrated, legally dubious scam.
Wait, what? A scam? Are you saying she is faking being broke?
Listen to the mechanics of what is happening. Think about it. She is filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy to purposefully, strategically avoid paying her employees their stolen wages and tips. The class action lawsuits are looming like a storm cloud. If her corporate entities go bankrupt, those working-class plaintiffs become unsecured creditors, meaning they get absolute pennies on the dollar if they get anything at all.
Oh, my God.
Right. And the real reason she vehemently rejected Derek's $5 million check, it has nothing to do with hyper-independence or trauma. It is asset protection. Because if Derek officially injects $5 million of liquid capital into her accounts, the courts will immediately seize it to pay off the $2 an hour staff she allegedly screwed over. She is not being hyper-independent. She is hiding the assets.
My jaw is on the floor. You just cracked the entire code. That makes so much horrible, brilliant, sinister, logical sense. She wants to be broke on paper so the courts cannot force her to pay the tip pool back. You are sick for coming up with that analysis, and I absolutely love it. It is the perfect villain origin story.
In reality television, as in life, you must always follow the money. The emotional narratives are just smokescreens for the financial maneuvering.
Wow. My mind is genuinely blown. Okay, let's keep this chaotic energy moving right into segment 2. Who would you trust with your secret?
The rule check. We have to pick one cast member from this specific episode that we would trust with our deepest, darkest secret, and one we would absolutely, under no circumstances, trust.
I will let you start this one. Who are you trusting to hold your secrets?
I am choosing to trust Angela.
Wow, really? Interesting choice. The woman trying to sell a $50 plastic fan?
Whoa.
Why her?
Because Angela operates with predictability, and predictability is the cornerstone of trust. Angela is what they call in this universe a certified bone collector. Yes, she aggressively gathers gossip, But she operates with a very specific stated code of ethics. She will look you dead in the eye and tell you she forgives you, but she explicitly states that she does not forget. She does not pretend to be your naive, ride-or-die best friend while secretly stabbing you in the back. You know exactly where you stand with her at all times. If you tell her a secret, she might weaponize it later if you cross her, but she will not lie to your face about her intentions. It is an honest, transactional sort of danger.
I see your logic. It's about knowing the rules of engagement. But my choice for who I would absolutely not trust is the complete opposite of predictable. I would not trust Kelly Farrell with the single, solitary syllable of a secret.
A very sound, empirically proven decision.
I am still reeling from her behavior. Think about what she did. She fabricated an entire detailed visual lie about seeing Pinky eat a steak. She fed that lie directly to Shamea, fully knowing Shamea has the biggest mouth in the tri-state area. And then the absolute piece de resistance, the sociopathic cherry on top, she sits quietly at the charity event, looking like a concerned angel sent from heaven, while Phaedra takes the entire firing squad for the rumor.
She did not even bat an eyelash.
She did not even flinch. Her resting heart rate did not elevate. She is a smiling assassin. If you tell Kelly a secret, she will not only broadcast it to the world, she will somehow frame you for your own murder. She is terrifying.
She displayed textbook sociopathic deflection. You simply cannot trust someone who possesses the psychological fortitude to sit perfectly still in the blast radius of their own lie and act like a grieving victim. It shows a complete lack of empathy.
Never. I would trust a snake before I trusted Kelly. Okay, it is time for segment 3, the Pettiest Moment Award.
Rule check. We each nominate a moment from the episode, debate the top 3 pettiest moments, go deep on exactly why they matter in the grand scheme of the drama, and then we mutually crown a winner.
I am coming out swinging. I have nominee number 1, Phaedra bringing $4,000 worth of specifically vegan baby formula to Pinky's parking lot charity event.
The sheer financial flex of it all, it was breathtaking.
It is so deeply aggressively petty. Pinky assigns her a bulk item, expecting her to bring a few boxes of Pampers. And instead of just bringing some regular, affordable formula, Phaedra goes to a luxury organic grocer and drops $4 grand just to aggressively prove a point to Pinky about wealth, liquidity, and status. And the absolute pettiest part, she makes sure every single person in earshot knew that the specific formula she bought is $28 a can. She was not doing it out of the goodness of her heart for the community babies. She was doing it for the math. She wanted Pinky, who's actively crumbling under a $5 million bankruptcy, to be forced to watch her casually drop $4,000 on vegan milk dust without breaking a sweat. It was a targeted missile strike.
It was a masterstroke of weaponized charitable donation. Truly sinister, because nobody can criticize her for donating baby formula, but the intent was pure malice. My nominee number 2 is much more subtle. It is Porsha instinctively snatching the "I want you" card off Mike's massive flower arrangement the exact second Dennis walked through her front door.
The sleight of hand. She moves like a magician.
Exactly. It was a display of instinctual, micro-level pettiness. Let's examine why she did it. She hid that card because she knew, with absolute historical certainty, that seeing Chanel bags or romantic flowers triggers Dennis's deepest insecurities and jealousies. But she was not hiding it to protect Dennis's fragile feelings. She was hiding it because she wanted the power dynamic of knowing a secret he did not. She wanted to watch him squirm, interrogate her, and visibly sweat while trying to figure out which man sent them. It was a microaggression of epic proportions designed to make him feel small.
Oh, she absolutely loved watching him desperately search for that card like a detective. Okay, those are both strong, but we have to agree on nominee number 3, and I think we already know exactly what it is.
Without a doubt. Dennis McKinley attempting to set geographical dating rules for Porsha.
Dennis looking Porsha in the eye in her own home and telling her she cannot date anyone who lives in his apartment building, despite the glaring, neon, undeniable fact that he does not even live in that building anymore because he moved out to live with his new girlfriend.
It is the apex of geographical pettiness. It is real estate manipulation.
So let's debate. Who wins the crown? Phaedra's weaponized vegan formula flex, Porsha's flower card sleight of hand to trigger jealousy, or Dennis gatekeeping an apartment building he vacated?
As much as I deeply respect the financial warfare of Phaedra's formula drop, the winner objectively has to be Dennis. Trying to exert territorial, patriarchal control over a specific zip code that you actively abandon for another woman is the absolute definition of petty king behavior. It requires a level of delusion, entitlement, and sheer audacity that belongs displayed under glass in a museum.
I completely agree. The mental gymnastics required to think you own the dating rights to an entire high-rise building you do not even pay rent in anymore is unmatched. The petty crown officially goes to Dennis McKinley. Wear it well, sir. All right, last segment before we wrap up and return to our vacation dreams. Segment 4, rebrand them.
Rule check. We select 3 cast members from the episode and completely, ruthlessly rebrand their image, their storyline, or their core personality to save them from their own current trajectory.
I am giving rebrand number 1 to Pinky Cole because she needs an intervention.
Desperately needed. What would you say is her current brand?
Her current brand is hyper-independent, struggling, exhausted vegan boss trying to save the community while crying in a hot parking lot. It is exhausting to watch. It is giving the audience secondhand anxiety. We do not want to see you struggle, babe.
And what is the prescribed new brand?
The new brand is the spoiled sugar baby.
Oh.
I am demanding she drops this struggle love. I can carry the weight of the world on my shoulders act. I need her to march back to Derek, look him in the eye, take that $5 million check, and lean fully into being a pampered, deeply delusional housewife who does not even look at the price tags on her silk caftans. Let the courts handle the messy restaurant business. Let the lawyers figure out the tip pool. Become a lady of absolute leisure. Give the audience opulence, not Chapter 11 bankruptcy filings. We want to see wealth, not struggle.
I love that pivot for her. It shifts the narrative from depressing and legally fraught to aspirational and campy. Okay, I will take rebrand number 2. Porsha Williams.
Oh, this should be good. Her current brand is basically messy single mom, navigating toxic baby daddies and trying to build a podcast empire for a 7-year-old child.
It is way too chaotic, and it keeps her tethered to men who drag her down. The children's podcast storyline needs to die immediately. My new brand for Porsha is the cutthroat real estate tycoon.
Yes. Selling Sunset meets Atlanta.
Exactly. I want Porsha to aggressively drop all of these men, cut off Mike and his deal-breaker ultimatums, banish Dennis to his girlfriend's house, and completely ignore the romantic noise. I want her to focus purely on securing million-dollar equity properties harvested from the wreckage of messy divorces. I want her flipping luxury mansions, securing massive bags, and wearing aggressively tailored power suits while she single-handedly crushes the Atlanta real estate market. She needs to become the Bravo universe's version of a ruthless property magnate. No men, just mortgages.
I would watch a 10-episode commercial-free spinoff of just that premise. She would be terrifying in a closing negotiation. All right, rebrand number 3 goes to the smiling assassin herself, Kelly Farrell.
Let's assess her current brand. Right now, she's the background friend quietly going bankrupt and randomly quoting Abraham Lincoln while wearing beige.
Exactly. It is weak. The new brand. The mastermind villain. I need Kelly to stop playing the perpetual victim, stop hiding in the background of group scenes, stop being a confessional gangster who only talks tough when she is alone in a green screen room. I want her to publicly own her lies.
Yes. Weaponize the sociopathy for entertainment value.
Exactly. I want her to walk into the Dallas cast trip, look Pinky dead in the eye across a crowded dinner table, and loudly say, "Yeah, I said you ate a steak. I completely made it up just to see what would happen. What are you going to do about it?" Claim the villain edit. Give the audience the evil genius mastermind we deserve. Stop hiding behind Phaedra's skirt and step boldly into the darkness. If you are going to be a liar, be the best liar on the network.
If she fully embraced the villain role instead of playing the innocent bystander, she would instantly secure her peach for the next 3 seasons. It is the only strategic career move left for her.
It really is. Wow. We have analytically fixed this entire franchise in less than an hour. The producers should be paying us a consulting fee.
We truly do the Lord's work here in the trenches.
Thank you so much to the Snark Squad for hanging out with us, sipping Bellinis and spiraling into the Bravo abyss. We appreciate you being here for the chaos.
Do not forget to share this conversation with a friend who loves the mess as much as we do, and please rate and review us wherever you listen. The algorithm feeds exclusively on your 5-star reviews.
It really does. It keeps the lights on. And think about this, like, babes, we started this whole thing visualizing Jamaican vacation dreams, picturing white sand and private jets, and we ended up completely spiraling over Housewives' financial delusion, fake vegan Meatgates, and baby daddy geographical drama, exactly where we belong.
We never truly left the trenches. But if you think about it, between the weaponized philanthropy, the real estate power plays, and the sheer audacity of bringing Maury Povich to a dinner fight, maybe the real luxury is not a beach in Jamaica. Maybe it is the absolute freedom of watching someone else's delusion from the comfort of your own couch, knowing your biggest problem tomorrow is just an annoying patient, not a $5 million public scandal.
That is the truth. Stay sunny, stay delusional, and we will see you on the snark side.